teams unit that's been one of the best in the league over the past several seasons. You got Brandon Aubrey, you got Cavante Turpin. Just talk about how that influenced your decision to join the Cowboys.
Yeah, well, first it was because it's a first-class organization, and I've worked with Shotty in the past, and I love him, I have a lot of respect for him. And then obviously what the Jones have done here, Jerry, for a number of years. And then you start looking at the roster because that does matter. Like you said, those players you just mentioned, they're dynamic, and they're really, really good players, top in the league. So that had a huge, that was a big part of it.
Coach, can you come up to the mic?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
You knew Joe Hoyt also, Dallas. You knew Shotty, obviously, in Jacksonville and Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
How have you seen him now as a head coach here, and is there a difference between Shotty back then and Shotty now? Or?
No, I think he's always been like this. He's always been really smart, cared about people, had great energy. So what he's bringing is who he is. I've always felt like he'd be a great head coach, and being a part of it for his first time is exciting. And I'm no doubt he's going to do a heck of a job. So far, it's been awesome. I've been here just over a week now, and it's just who he is. He's very consistent. He cares about the players. He cares about people, everyone in the building, and really because in the end it's about the players, and you see that. And he wants to do things right, and he puts thought into everything he does, but with great energy and enthusiasm, which is what I think it's about.
Clarence Hill also in Dallas. What's his consistent message that you give the coach?
What's that?
What's been Shotty's consistent message he's given the coach?
Basically what I was just saying. Really, this is a first-class organization, and it's about the players, and it's driven by the players, and being connected to them, and being a family, and just bringing that energy every single day, and doing everything we can to work hard and win games, because at the end, that's really what it's about.
In other spots, how different is that from other head coaches in other spots?
I think everyone kind of tweaks it a little bit. You'd probably see it, as far as that energy with how it was with Pete and in Seattle in that sense. But as far as pouring in the players, that's really what it's about. And I think him stressing that over and over every single day, it's the players win the games. So we got to create that connection. No matter how much it changes each year, you got to dig into those guys. And it's really good that he continues to remind us here every day and being connected with them, because a lot of us are new and we got to learn these guys. Been grinding on the tape, watching them, but staying in touch with them and talking to them as much as possible. That's everything. Getting to know who they are.
Christy Scales with Cowboys Radio. Question about transitioning from defense to special teams and the challenges, because it seems like there's a lot more moving parts on special teams where you get a core guy, but now he's got to step in as a starter.
Moving parts as far as personnel?
Personnel-wise.
Yeah, that's the fun challenge of it. I think in the end it's all football, and I think that's the fun part. I think the challenge is not just the personnel, but it's also, I think you got to find ways to make it make sense to the player, to where it can kind of translate to them, because a lot of these guys don't play a lot of teams or haven't in their past, maybe early in their college career, but most of the guys were studs and, didn't really play it a whole lot. So it's, one, you got to make them understand the importance of it. And I think, Jerry Jones, and talking with him, he truly understands the importance of special teams, and, talks about his past when he played at Arkansas and how good they were. And he understands that. And Shotty totally understands that and supports it. And I think, over the years, these guys have been really, really good. And just talking to the core players who've played here, they understand it, and that's number one. And then two, how can you equate that to what they have to actually do in the game, and be able to transfer that to making plays, whether it's blocking or tackling or just making those plays. And even with the kickoff rule change, guys had to adjust, and that's been fun digging into that too.
Scott Dixon with the Associated Press. What can you take from the experience last year with the Niners?
I just learned a lot, learned a lot, good, bad, on to the next, and just excited to be here, really.
And it's kind of a unique combination going from that to this. How do you look at that, and are there ways you can sort of contribute with the staff just based on your own background with defense and stuff?
I mean, it's evaluating players and stuff like that, but I mean, for me, it's just full focus on special teams right now, and however they ask me to do anything else, I will. But for me, it's really just getting back together with Carlos Polk, who was my assistant in Jacksonville, so it's awesome to have a familiar face, and we've done this before together, and he's a heck of a coach, and just really been digging into the special team side of stuff.
So you didn't pay as much attention to the kickoff rule probably last year coaching defense, but overall your impression of it and how it can be refined going into the second year?
I think you kind of saw the progression of learning with the coaches throughout the season, just watching a bunch of teams and obviously watching us first, and then, seeing different teams and how they attacked it on both sides of it. It's interesting. We'll see what happens if anything changes this year. If they tweak anything, we'll be ready for it. And it's just been fun to kind of dig into it and how close they are with point of contact. It kind of changed for little guys, not having that space to just run and weave and get those guys on their heels early. You're on each other pretty quickly.
Is that something that's already been talked about within the scouting department or personnel in terms of, kind of some bigger bodies since it is, less?
I think that's more the roster and stuff like that. It really didn't change a whole lot. It's just little things here and there.
When you're starting to interview for this job, are you going, I got one of the best kickers in the game if I get the job?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And returner, and punt, it's loaded. Like we said at the beginning, it's what a group of guys here that have really done it at a high level for a number of years. So it was a big bonus.
Because of his range,
yes.
Because of his range, does it make it a little easier to say, hey, coach, we don't need to go for it because of what we got on the sideline.
Yeah, you get before the game and during the game, you're talking where are we at on your yard, where do we need to be with this ball with the offense, and I think it changes a lot. He's a huge weapon, obviously.
From a coaching staff standpoint, Schottenheimer has impressively put together a staff that looks like it struck balance between experienced NFL minds, but then some guys who were first-time NFL coaches who bring in some new, fresh ideas from today's college game. Just talk about the importance of having such a balance.
Yeah, I think the balance here is really cool, and just getting to know the guys. Like I said, he wants us all to get to know each other along with the players, and really everyone in the building that deals with the players. But the staff is exciting. I mean, the guys are excited. We're all fired up to be here. Like I said, Dallas Cowboys, it's a first-class organization. We all want to win, and you've got that good mixture of guys that have done it a long time, guys that are new, guys from college. I think that's awesome. You need to have that balance. It's really cool.
Brandon Aubrey's obviously been fantastic, but he's credited a lot of the long snapping and the holding to that effect in the field goal. Two of those guys are free agents. How important do you kind of look at the battery of kind of keeping that consistency potentially?
Yeah, I think it's a big deal. I think, Trent and Brian have done a great job. They've worked their butts off. I haven't found anyone who says anything bad about them. They've really, really got a lot of respect for those guys, and, it is a business, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, we'd love to have them back, and hopefully we can.
On the kickoffs, if you were in charge, what tweaks would you recommend, if any?
I'm not in charge, so I don't have to think like that. Thank God. I'm good. If we do what they tell us to do, and we'll figure it out.
What's your fake punt policy?
What's that? Whatever shot he wants. You always look at it, though. You always got to be prepared. I always think you have to. That's probably the first thing I look at is any opportunities each week. And then if it's there and there's validity to it and you can make it make sense, and it just depends on the situation. It's obviously you got to be ready for it with, selecting that and presenting it to Shotty, and then we talk through it throughout the week. And if, you have it up, you have it up. If you don't need it or, he doesn't want to do it, we don't do it. But it's got to make sense. It's all about winning, so how can this help us win, really?
How unique of a weapon is Cavante Turpin? I know he's going to be a free agent, but a couple All-Pros in the last 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, he's a scary guy to go against. I mean, I remember even going against him these last couple of years. It was talked about in the team meetings. You just even being a part of defense, everyone knows that he's a threat. And then, he does that same, strikes that same fear in offense too. But as far as the kicking game, he's a threat, big time.
The Dallas Cowboys have made an interesting move by bringing in Nick Sorensen as their new special teams coordinator. But what does this really mean for the team? Sorensen isn't a household name, but he's been around the NFL for years. As a former player and coach, he's worked with top defensive minds and played a key role in developing special teams units across the league. Now he's taking on the challenge of leading the Cowboys' special teams, a unit that was already strong last season. One key factor in his hiring? His connection with Brian Schottenheimer, the team's offensive coordinator. Their relationship could be crucial in shaping the team's overall strategy. So, let me ask you, do you think Sorensen can make a real impact on the Cowboys? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Nick Sorensen isn't just here to maintain the status quo. He wants to elevate the Cowboys' special teams to another level. His coaching philosophy revolves around player development and creating a unit that can truly impact games. One of his biggest strengths? Maximizing talent. He's known for helping young players grow into key contributors, something the Cowboys have excelled at in recent years. With a strong roster of specialists, Sorensen's focus will be on refining execution and ensuring the team stays ahead of the competition. But here's where things get interesting. The NFL's new kickoff rule is set to change the game in 2025. Will Sorensen's approach help the Cowboys adjust and gain an advantage, or will it present new challenges? Let's settle this. Should the Cowboys invest more in special teams or focus on improving offense and defense? Vote in the comments, and let's see what the majority thinks. When it comes to shaping the Cowboys, Jerry Jones's influence is everywhere, and special teams are no exception. He understands their importance, especially in close games where a single play can decide the outcome. That's why Sorensen's arrival isn't just a routine hire, it's part of a bigger vision. Brian Schottenheimer and the coaching staff are backing Sorensen's approach, aiming for consistency and reliability. One key piece of that puzzle? Brandon Aubrey. After an outstanding season, keeping him on track will be a priority. The question is, will the Cowboys' philosophy on special teams be enough to make a real difference in 2025? That depends on execution and whether Sorensen can get the most out of his unit. If you were the head coach, what strategy would you use for special teams More aggressive play calling? A focus on fundamentals? Drop your thoughts in the comments. No coaching transition comes without challenges, and Nick Sorensen will have his fair share to deal with. One of the biggest concerns? Player retention. Some key special teams contributors might not return, forcing Sorensen to rebuild crucial parts of the unit. Then there's the NFL's constant rule changes. The league is tweaking kickoff rules to improve safety, but these adjustments can also throw off strategies that worked in the past. Sorensen will need to adapt quickly, or the Cowboys' special teams could struggle to keep up. Another challenge? Balancing experience and youth. Veterans provide stability, but younger players bring energy and explosiveness. Finding the right mix will be essential for long-term success. So here's a question for you. What's your biggest concern for the Cowboys in 2025? Will special teams hold up? Or are there bigger issues on offense or defense? Vote in the comments and let's see what the fans think. With everything we've discussed, one thing is clear. Nick Sorensen's impact on the Cowboys' special teams will be one of the biggest storylines in 2025. His success will depend on execution, adapting to rule changes, and keeping key players locked in. But there's optimism in Dallas. The coaching staff believes in Sorensen's vision, and if he can maximize this unit's potential, it could be a real difference maker in close games. Cowboys fans know all too well how one special team's mistake or one clutch play can change everything. So, here's what to watch. How quickly can Sorensen get results? Will his strategies make the Cowboys more competitive? The answers will come soon enough. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any Cowboys updates. Let's see how this new era unfolds.